All right, so everyone's probably still recovering from the holidays and working on those New Year's resolutions, but we're going to jump ahead to something much more fun. Valentine's Day. We're doing a deep dive into Etsy's 2025 predictions because you've got your shop, you know what you're selling, but you also need to know what all the lovebirds out there are going to be wanting.
Yeah, you got to stay ahead of the trends.
Exactly. So think of it like stocking up for the season of love. We've got the inside scoop. We're looking at a mix of Etsy's search data and what's got the industry buzzing.
And I think what's really interesting this year is that it's less about the big flashy gestures, like we've seen in the past.
Right.
And more about those like personalized and meaningful gifts.
Yeah, it's really about, like they say, it's the thought that counts, right?
Exactly.
And Etsy's data is showing just that. Personalized greeting cards are up 22% compared to last year. So what kind of personalized gifts are we talking about specifically?
Well, shoppers are really looking for those unique items that really speak to their specific relationships. It's kind of like moving away from that generic mass-produced gift towards something that feels really, truly special and one of a kind.
Okay, this next one is really catching my eye. Love letters are making a comeback. And we're not talking about just any old scribbled note. Etsy's seeing a surge in searches for things like custom portraits, beautiful stationery, even wax seals is like a romantic blast from the past.
Yeah, it's definitely tapping into that nostalgia trend that we're seeing everywhere. In a digital world, people are craving those tangible items, something that they can hold on to, cherish. And what's more romantic and lasting than a handwritten love letter?
Yeah, exactly.
And plus, remember those custom couples portraits that were so popular last year?
Oh yeah, those were huge.
Etsy says they were top sellers, so personalized art is clearly something that's resonating with people.
So maybe this is a sign to dust off those calligraphy skills. And speaking of creating a special atmosphere, Date Night In is huge this year. Etsy saw a whopping 41% increase year over year in date night kits. But what I think is really interesting is that it's not just any generic kit. People are looking for these really unique experiences.
Exactly. Think like themed kits like a gourmet pasta making night, a mixology class with all the ingredients, or even a pottery kit, for a creative date night. It's all about creating that curated experience at home.
It's like the ultimate self-care indulgence, but for two. And with so many different kits popping up, there's really something for every couple's taste.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about sparkle. And I'm not talking about your average glitter. Lab-grown diamonds are having a major moment, with sales on Etsy skyrocketing by 139% year over year.
Yeah, this is a great example of how consumer values are evolving, especially younger generations. They're much more conscious of the ethical and environmental impact of their purchases, and lab-grown diamonds offer that same beauty and brilliance as mined diamonds, but without the ethical concerns or the hefty price tag.
So it's not just about looking good, it's about feeling good about your purchases too. But here's the question. How can Etsy sellers capitalize on this trend? Should they be offering lab-grown diamond alternatives to their existing lines? Or creating entirely new collections that are specifically marketed towards the eco-conscious consumer?
That's a great question. I think it really depends on the seller's brand and their target audience. If you're already known for fine jewelry, introducing a lab-grown diamond line could be a natural extension. You could even highlight the ethical and sustainable aspects in your marketing.
Right, it's all about aligning your offerings with your values and what your customers care about. Now, before we get too caught up in the romance, let's not forget about the little ones. Valentine's Day is a great time to create fun experiences for kids too. And Etsy saw a 17% increase in kids' personalized cards and party favors. So what kind of trends are we seeing in this space?
Well, there's a big focus on creativity and personalization, even for the younger set. Think like DIY card-making kits, personalized classroom Valentines, or even themed baking sets. It's about giving kids the tools to express their love and appreciation, but in a fun and engaging way.
I love that. So it's not just about the store-bought stuff. It's about getting kids involved in the creative process and making it a family affair. But here's another question. Isn't the kids market already pretty saturated with Valentine's Day offerings? How can sellers stand out in this space?
That's a valid point. I think the key is to offer something unique and memorable. Maybe it's a personalized storybook featuring the child as the main character, or a custom treasure hunt kit with clues leading to a special Valentine's Day treat. It's about going beyond the typical classroom Valentines and offering something that truly sparks a child's imagination.
I love those ideas. It's all about tapping into that sense of wonder and excitement that kids bring to this holiday. Okay, ready to shift gears a bit and talk about a specific aesthetic that's really taking off this year.
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
It's called bucolic vintage. Imagine rustic decor, Warm colors, a sense of peaceful simplicity, like stepping back in time to a cozy countryside cottage. Etsy saw vintage items across home decor, kitchenware, and collectibles topping the charts in the last quarter of 2024. But here's the thing, isn't the vintage market already pretty saturated? How can sellers make this trend work for Valentine's Day without getting lost in the crowd?
That's a good point. I think the key is to curate a specific mood or feeling. Maybe it's a collection of vintage teacups for a romantic Valentine's Day tea party, or a set of antique love letters framed and ready to be gifted.
Ooh, those are great ideas. It's like you're not just selling the vintage item itself, you're selling the story and the emotion that comes with it.
Exactly. Think about how you can create a cohesive aesthetic and tell a story through your product selection and presentation.
Okay, so we've talked about personalized gifts, date night in, lab-grown diamonds, kids celebrations, and even the rise of bucolic vintage. What's the common thread running through all of these trends?
I'd say it's the focus on creating genuine connections and meaningful experiences. It's about moving away from mass-produced, generic items towards something that feels personal, authentic, and special.
So it's not just about the stuff, it's about the sentiment behind it.
Exactly, and that's what makes this Valentine's Day so exciting. It's an opportunity for sellers to really tap into their creativity and offer something that resonates with people on a deeper level.
This is all great information, but I'm already thinking about how I can apply all of this to my own shop. What are some key takeaways our listeners should be thinking about right now?
Well, first, think about your target audience and what they're looking for in a Valentine's Day gift. Are they drawn to personalized items, unique experiences, or ethically sourced products?
Right. It's all about understanding your niche and what resonates with your customers.
Exactly. Once you have a good understanding of your audience, start brainstorming ways to incorporate these trends into your existing product lines. Or create something entirely new. Don't be afraid to get creative and think outside the box.
Okay. I'm feeling inspired, but before we go too far down the rabbit hole of brainstorming, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to explore even more Valentine's Day trends and how you can make them work for your business. How to really level up your Etsy shop using Shopify.
Right.
We've got some really great information to share about why so many sellers are actually using both platforms to really grow their businesses.
Yeah. You know, it's actually not a this or that situation. You don't have to pick just one. A lot of sellers are finding that Etsy and Shopify can actually work together really, really well.
Yeah. And today, we are partnering with Shopify to explore just how powerful this combo can be. And Shopify is offering a free trial for our listeners.
Absolutely.
So you can check out the link in the description to explore the platform and see for yourself how it could benefit your Etsy business.
Definitely.
So let's unpack this. I mean, why are we even talking about Shopify if you're already crushing it on Etsy? Well, think of Etsy kind of like a giant online craft fair, you know? It's got a built-in audience of shoppers who are already looking for those unique handmade goods. And you know, that visibility can be huge, especially when you're first starting out.
Right. And Etsy's also super user-friendly, so it's really easy to get your shop set up quickly without having to build a website, from scratch.
Yeah.
But as your business starts to grow, you might find that you run into some limitations.
Yeah, and that is where Shopify comes in. With Shopify, you can have your own storefront, and it's 100% YU.
Right.
You get total control over the look and the feel of your online store. It's not like Etsy, where you have to stick with that kind of marketplace template. You can create an online shopping experience that really reflects your style, your brand.
That's such a good point. And you can use all that success you've built up on Etsy to give your Shopify store a boost.
Totally.
Think about it. You've already got these loyal customers on Etsy, so why not invite them to experience your brand in a new way on your own website, right?
That's a great point. And Shopify is offering a free trial for our listeners.
Absolutely.
So you can check out the link in the description to explore the platform and see for yourself how it could benefit your Etsy business.
Definitely. All right, so are you ready to jump back into these Valentine's Day trends?
Absolutely. I'm already brimming with ideas, but I'm really eager to hear more about how we can make these trends work for us Etsy sellers. What else do we need to know?
Well, let's talk about presentation. Because no matter how amazing your products are, they need to be showcased in a way that captures attention and tells a story. Think about your product photography, your shop's aesthetic, and even your social media presence.
So it's not just about what you're selling, it's about how you're selling it.
Precisely. For example, if you're tapping into that bucolic vintage trend, you might use like soft natural lighting in your photos and incorporate some rustic props like wooden crates or antique lace. Your social media could feature mood boards with vintage imagery and quotes about love and nostalgia.
I see what you mean. It's all about creating an immersive experience that draws people in and makes them feel something.
Exactly. And don't forget about the power of storytelling. Use your product descriptions and social media captions to connect with your audience on an emotional level. Share the inspiration behind your creations, highlight the unique aspects of your offerings, and emphasize how they can help people create those special and meaningful moments.
So it's about going beyond just listing the features and benefits.
Yeah.
And really tapping into the heart of what makes your product special.
Absolutely. Remember, people buy from people. They want to know that their purchases are supporting real people with passion and creativity. Sharing your story and connecting with your audience on a personal level can really make all the difference.
Okay, that makes sense. But here's a question. How do we balance staying true to our own brand and aesthetic while still incorporating these trends?
That's a great question. It's about finding a way to infuse these trends with your own unique style and perspective. Don't feel like you need to completely overhaul your brand or copy what everyone else is doing. Instead, think about how you can interpret these trends in a way that feels authentic to you.
So it's about taking inspiration from these trends, but still putting our own spin on things.
Exactly. For example, if you're a minimalist jewelry maker, you might not be drawn to the ornate details of bucolic vintage, but you could still incorporate the trend's focus on natural elements by using raw stones and earthy textures in your designs.
I love that. It's all about finding a way to make these trends work for you, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Speaking of making things work, we talked earlier about the rise of lab-grown diamonds. Let's say I'm a jewelry maker who's always worked with mined diamonds. How do I even begin to navigate this new landscape?
Well, the first step is to educate yourself about lab-grown diamonds. Learn about the different growing processes, the quality standards, and the pricing structure. There are some great resources available online, and you can even reach out to suppliers for more information.
So it's about doing your research and understanding the nuances of this new material.
Exactly. Once you feel confident in your knowledge, you can start thinking about how to incorporate lab-grown diamonds into your offerings. Maybe you start by offering a few lab-grown options alongside your mined diamond pieces. Or you could create a separate collection specifically marketed towards consumers who are looking for those ethical and sustainable alternatives.
And how do I talk about lab-grown diamonds with my customers? Do I need to use different terminology or marketing strategies?
It's important to be transparent and upfront about the fact that you're using lab-grown diamonds. Use clear and concise language in your product descriptions and marketing materials. You can highlight the ethical and environmental benefits, but also emphasize the beauty and quality of lab-grown diamonds.
So it's about educating your customers and helping them understand the value of this new option.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to address any potential concerns or misconceptions they might have. Some people might still think that lab-grown diamonds are fake or less valuable than mined diamonds. It's your job to dispel those myths and present lab-grown diamonds as a beautiful and responsible choice.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about changing the narrative and helping people see lab-grown diamonds in a new light. You know, I'm realizing that this whole conversation is about more than just following trends. It's about adapting, evolving, and staying ahead of the curve.
You hit the nail on the head. The world of e-commerce is constantly changing, and as Etsy sellers, we need to be flexible and willing to embrace new ideas. These trends offer valuable insights into what consumers are looking for. But it's up to us to interpret them in a way that aligns with our own brand and values.
So it's about taking these trends as inspiration and using them to fuel our own creativity and innovation.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe we'll even be the ones setting the trends next year.
Now that's a thought. But before we get too carried away with our trend-setting aspirations, let's circle back to something we touched on earlier, the resurgence of love letters. I know we talked about this in the context of personalized gifts, but I feel like there's something deeper here.
I agree. I think this trend speaks to a larger longing for connection and authenticity in a world that's increasingly dominated by digital communication.
It's like we're craving something tangible, something that goes beyond emojis and instant messages.
Exactly. A handwritten love letter is a deliberate act of love and affection. It takes time and effort to put your feelings into words and commit them to paper. It's a physical manifestation of your emotions, something that the recipient can hold on to and cherish.
And in a way, it's a reminder that even in the digital age, there's still something special about the power of the written word.
Absolutely. And I think this trend extends beyond romantic relationships. We're seeing a resurgence of handwritten thank you notes, birthday cards, and even just simple notes of appreciation.
It's like we're rediscovering the value of personal touch in a world that's become increasingly impersonal.
Precisely. And I think that's something we can all embrace, whether we're Etsy sellers or just individuals looking to connect with others on a deeper level.
So as we head into this Valentine's Day season, maybe it's time to put down our phones and pick up a pen. Let's take inspiration from this trend and spread a little love and appreciation through the power of handwritten words.
I love that sentiment. And who knows, maybe we'll even inspire a handwritten revolution.
Okay, I'm officially on board with the handwritten revolution. But before we get too carried away with our letter writing campaign, I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from personalized gifts to lab-grown diamonds and everything in between, but there's one more trend we need to explore. A trend that's all about creating a sense of warmth, comfort, and nostalgia.
I think I know what you're talking about. Let's save that conversation for the final part of our deep dive.
Let's talk about something really important: owning your audience data.
Yeah.
This is where Shopify really shines.
Absolutely. With Shopify, you can collect email addresses and get to know your customers better and really build direct relationships with them. And that's just not something you can do on Etsy.
Okay, so I'm starting to see the potential here, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I mean, how does this all actually translate into more money in your pocket as an Etsy seller?
Well, first of all, Shopify's transaction fees are way lower than Etsy's. So that means that you get to keep more of your hard-earned cash.
That makes a lot of sense. And what about marketing? Isn't it going to be like way more work to drive traffic to your own website than just relying on Etsy's built-in audience?
Well, yeah, you're right. You're going to have to put in some work to build your audience on Shopify. But here's the thing. You're building a valuable asset, your own customer base,
Right.
One that you control and can grow over time.
Yeah, you're not just dependent on another platform for visibility. You're taking control of your business.
Exactly. And Shopify has a bunch of tools to help you do just that.
Good.
You can use things like targeted email campaigns, connect with folks on social media. You can even start a blog or create videos to attract new customers and establish yourself, as an expert.
So it sounds like Shopify can really help Etsy sellers reach a bigger audience through all those marketing tools.
Yes.
And Shopify is offering a free trial for our listeners.
Absolutely.
So you can check out the link in the description to explore the platform and see for yourself how it could benefit your Etsy business.
Definitely.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our Valentine's Day Trends Deep Dive.
And we've talked about a lot: personalization, conscious choices, the desire for these unique experiences. But there's one more trend that I think really captures the essence of what people are seeking this Valentine's Day.
You're talking about that cozy, comforting vibe we touched on earlier. Right?
Exactly. It's all about creating that sense of warmth, intimacy, nostalgia. Think crackling fireplaces, soft blankets, the aroma of homemade treats.
Okay, I'm already feeling relaxed just thinking about it. So what are we calling this trend?
Well, we're seeing it pop up everywhere, from home decor to fashion to even food. But the overarching theme is, I think we can call it hygge romance.
Hygge romance. I love it. Sounds so inviting and comforting.
It is. Hygge, as you might know, is a Danish concept. And it emphasizes coziness, contentment, and well-being.
Right.
And when you combine that with romance, you get a Valentine's Day that's all about slowing down, savoring those simple pleasures, and creating that sense of intimacy and connection.
So it's not about the grand gestures or the fancy restaurants. It's about creating that cozy and intimate atmosphere, whether it's at home or, somewhere special.
Exactly. Think about incorporating elements like soft lighting, natural textures, and warm colors into your Valentine's Day offerings.
So for Etsy sellers, this could mean anything from hand-knitted blankets and candles to cozy pajamas and hot cocoa mixes.
Absolutely. And don't forget about the food. Think about offering gourmet bathing kits for couples to make together, or curated boxes filled with artisanal chocolates and locally sourced honey.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. But how do we tie all of this back to the idea of romance? It sounds like we're describing a perfect winter night in not necessarily like a romantic celebration.
That's where the creativity comes in. Think about how you can present these items in a way that feels romantic and special. Maybe it's a gift set that includes a cozy blanket, a scented candle, and a handwritten note with a romantic quote.
I love that idea. It's all about the little details that make something feel so thoughtful and personalized.
Exactly. Remember, Valentine's Day is about celebrating love and connection. And creating a sense of hig can really enhance that feeling of intimacy and warmth.
Okay, so to sum it all up, we've got 5 major trends driving Valentine's Day in 2025. Personalized gifts, unique experiences, conscious choices, the resurgence of handwritten sentiments, and this new concept of hig romance.
That's a great recap. And what's so exciting is that these trends offer something for everyone, whether you're a hopeless romantic, an eco-conscious consumer, or just someone who loves to cozy up with a loved one.
And for Etsy sellers, this means there are endless possibilities for creating products and experiences that will resonate with those customers this Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. So as you head into the season of love, think about how you can infuse your offerings with these trends and tap into the emotional core of what people are seeking this Valentine's Day.
It's not just about selling products, it's about creating something meaningful and memorable.
Beautifully said.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive into Valentine's Day trends. We hope you've gleaned some valuable insights and inspiration to make this Valentine's Day your most successful yet.
And remember, whether you're crafting personalized gifts, curating cozy experiences, or simply spreading a little love and kindness, it's the thought and intention behind your actions that truly matters.
So go forth and create something beautiful. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the trends shaping our world.